Hello, everybody. It's my pleasure to welcome you and invite Hadassah International's President Robert Dorfman from Hong Kong to greet this incredible group and start the meeting. Rob.
Thank you very much, Jorge. As Jorge said, I'm Robert Dorfman. I'm president of Hadassah International's board, and I'm joining you from my home in Hong Kong. It's a pleasure to be with all of you. We've had a number of these calls over the last few weeks, and I think they've all been extremely informative and useful, and we look forward to a very productive call today. We have with us today Rhoda Smollow, who's the national president of Hadassah, the Women's Zionist Organization of America. And I'd like to turn the floor over to Rhoda so that she can open up for us and introduce Zeev Rotstein, who is our guest today with us. So Rhoda, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Rob. My thanks go to Melissa Kaplan, Executive Director of Hadassah International, Joyce Rabin, Chair of Hadassah International, and of course, Robert Dorfman, President Hadassah International, and their entire team for creating this amazing global crisis response and today's webinar. You have proudly carried on the mission of our founder, Henrietta Zold, by caring for the Jewish people in Jewish communities around the world. I also want to welcome everyone on this call for all that they are doing to stem the tide of this global pandemic. No matter where you are, no matter where you live, what country, what continent, we are one Hadassah family. This weekend, we celebrated the 160th birthday of Theodor Herzl's, best known for his critical role in establishing the State of Israel. All of us on the call today recognize the importance of supporting Israel, and we proudly support our hospital, HMO, because we know that by doing this, we are ensuring the health and wellness of Jerusalem and the whole country. Like Herzl before us, we are all Zionists. I would like to welcome to this call supporters from Hadassah International, representing countries from all over the world, and Hadassah International Israel, and finally national Hadassah members from all over the United States. Together we live. These three words speak volumes on what motivates us today as we do everything we can to stay safe at home and in our communities and find a meaningful way to express our partnership with the State of Israel through our ongoing support of our hospitals in Jerusalem. While all of us are dealing with COVID-19, no matter where we live, we feel more hopeful about the future because of our hospital, HMO in Israel, and how it is managing this pandemic. We are so proud of the Director General, Professor Zeev Rotstein, who is showing care for his medical staff and all healthcare workers and providing exemplary medicine to all of the patients sick with the virus. I know we are all very excited to hear from our illustrious Director General, Professor Zeev Rotstein. So I will now turn this call over to Jorge Diener, Associate Director of Hadassah International. Toda Rabah.
Thank you, Rhoda. I think you just mentioned the word leadership, and I think if there is anything that represents Hadassah, it's all about leadership. Is the leadership of Henrietta Zold more than 100 years ago, is the leadership in America of people like you, Rhoda, leading the Hadassah Women's Zionist Organization, is the leadership of Hadassah International, represented by many people on this call, and it's the leadership of our professionals, our executive leaders running our operation through our hospitals in Jerusalem. And it's my pleasure to have today Professor Zeev Rotstein for this conversation to take us through life with COVID-19. This is not the first call. Through our global response, we have had many different calls, and we have heard about research. We have heard current situation a few weeks ago when we started with this pandemic. And I think Professor Rotstein has taken a very important role in leading the way through this crisis. And we, as you said, Rhoda, we are proud of that. And what we want to hear today from Professor Rotstein, Zeev, is how do we get used to live with a virus that, according to many opinions all over the world, is here to stay for a while? And how do you see the way we will get out of this, when, how, and what are the measures you have taken so far as the leader of our hospital in Jerusalem to make this happen? Zeev, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon here in Israel. Good morning where it's morning. Good night where it is night. Because we are this, I would say, Zoom call is, I incorporate all the world. But anyway, Voda started with Henrietta Sold, and from here we did learn how to dream, and not only to dream, but to dream big. I didn't know myself that I have to dream so big, okay, encountering the coronavirus here in Israel. But, it happened that it started very fast, accumulating many patients that not not only to be isolated. The coronavirus epidemic in Israel with patients 114, 113, but anyway, it's mean that all our beds were occupied. What do you do with corona patients that you have to isolate?
We can't hear you very well, Professor Rotstein. So I'm going to ask everybody if you could switch off your cameras, then the connection will be better for everybody, and we'll be able to hear and to listen to Professor Rotstein. At least we will increase the chances the connection will be better. Thank you so much, Professor Rotstein.
Okay, now it's unmute. Do you
Yes.
hear me?
Now, yes. Now it's good.
I don't know when to stop hearing me, but I will remember shortly. You learn from and to dream big, and when corona epidemic started in Israel, almost rate of over half. We started with a 1 building project, I would say, and we slowly but gradually emptying the old building. We start to dish the old building in order to actually to build a new one. So the corona epidemics actually caught us when we were in a demolition. Several floors were already demolished, but several others were on the way to be demolished. And what we did is gradually, as we were out our patients with corona virus, we started to renew or rebuild some of these floors and created from nothing the first intensive care where the old cardiology department used to be before moving them to the Sarah Davidson Tower. And so we put the first, intensive care unit, and it felt immediately with severe patients that need not only respirator, but also other means, of resuscitation, including ECMO, and we started immediately, to treat this patient. We decided from the beginning that we are going to divide the two campuses in a clean campus of Mount Scopus without any corona patient in order to continue some routine, activity of the hospital. And we realized, and wisely realized, that the people who needs our services, not because of the corona epidemic, but because they are sick, they probably will need all the facility in the Mount Scopus campus. So in parallel to a clean Mount Scopus campus without any corona cases, we continue our normal activity. We reduce the activity in NKRM because, we were forced by the government not to perform any elective procedure. It means that we cut off our oxygen tube, and we started to suffer, of course, without any income. Because if you don't activate the hospital, if there is no activity, there is no money. But we did our share and took everyone who came to both our campuses, and we moved them into the old building, gradually built it, from the demolition situation to have 5 units of corona isolation departments, which 2 of them were intensive care unit, and the tree are stepped down, but also for severe patients. And so we found a way to parallel cure this patient in one hand, on the other hand, continue to run the hospital, continue to run the maternity complex, to continue to run the emergency room with other patients. All the acute care patients that we needed were admitted to the hospital. Yes, we were pioneers, following Henrietta Soul in keeping our team healthy. And we did it by routinely weekly check for the virus, protecting them with protective gear without, sparing anything. We did them full kit to themselves, includes all the parts that they need. And indeed, I got during the last month so many thank you letters from the team, from the staff of the hospital, that the first time that they felt that the management is taking care of them. But it's not only the management. You have to remember that when all of it started, I got a phone call for HWZOA suggesting helping us in trying to recruit some donation. And this early donation that we got to the hospital allowed us to equip ourselves nice enough to treat the patient. So it was not only management, HWZOA as well were recruited, and locally in Israel, we started to raise also some funds, and we got some, some equipment. If it's from China and other countries that gradually. Remember, Hadassah is, kind of, I would say, the light that these lights are during days and nights. And being pioneer means that we actually set up the most important laboratory for Corona. We replaced it overnight, and we were the major laboratory for Corona in Israel. Not only that, we showed them the way how to protect the staff, how to get out, reaching out the community and sampling important and sensitive, elements of the civilization in order to protect them from the coronavirus. We were leading, the other how to protect themselves. We supplied from our supply the other hospital that really found themselves without equipment, even simple alcohol, to disinfect their hands. Everything was given by Hadassah as under the formula of Hadassah. We were the only one who produced Hadassah in the country. And, with this name of Hadassah, Hadassah, you can get, in Rambam Hospital, in Ichilov Hospital, in other hospitals, in Kupat Cholim, or even in the emergency services of Magen David Adom, these specific blue, bottles of Hadassah manufactures in Hadassah. And not only that, also, some we shared with others. We became actually the most organized hospital, in the country, which everyone started to imitate, and that was fun because we wanted them to imitate us. We wanted them to take out the corona patient from the routine department and really find a place, isolate them completely from the normal hospital and the normal patients and staff. And the last 2 months were a hell of experience of a lot of volunteering, a lot of work from our teams, if it's the physician, if it's the nurses, if it's the people from the laboratory. Let me give you just another aspect of it. We were able to renew our good relationship with the Hebrew University people. After a 30 years war over land, we found them, ready to be part of us, and we recruit them to work together with us during the time that our student house, and other members of the university found themselves to work and to produce thousands of corona examinations a day, okay, to help the people of Israel. And this good spirit of the Hebrew University people is a kind of a very good start now to continue this fantastic relationship for the days to come. It was important for us as well.
I think, you know, this is a wonderful example of the role that Hadassah plays in building bridges all in normal times, but particularly in times like this of crisis, the building bridges that build partnerships with other institutions, with other parts of the world. You know, you spoke about other hospitals in Israel taking the model of Hadassah to function, and we are also very proud that our Hadassah Global Response Team has distributed and is distributing right now the manual of protocols of Hadassah at other hospitals all over the world. This has been distributed now not only to hospitals, also to old age homes and places where our protocols are being used as an example to be imitated or adapted to other realities. And in that sense, you know, I want to make a bridge also into the present and the future. You know, we are very proud of all what has been done at Hadassah under your leadership and your team. And I think, you know, many people there are people on this call from 25 countries, all representing different parts of the world, and they are looking at us, looking at some guidance, at some orientation. Where are we heading? How do we live with Corona? What happens with, how are we planning to deal with potential new cases of COVID-19, new waves in the winter, even before, and at the same time take care of other patients? And I think that's something that we want to hear, how you see the way forward.
Wow, thanks. You asked a lot of questions. I'll try to answer them one by one. First of all, our influence. Can you imagine that in big Moscow, okay, Hadassah is sampling the citizens for coronavirus present? Can you imagine that we have in our Hadassah Moscow drive-in, when people are driving in with their cars and they've been sampled for corona and they get the answer within the same day, if they are positive or negative? And you know that the epidemic in Moscow is one of a kind. There is a lot of people infected in Moscow and high mortality rate as well.
It's going up, yes.
Okay, and so we are there. We are present there. We taught them how to work. We instruct them how to set up the sampling, I would say, station. So the influence of Hadassah is going above and beyond, okay, the borders, including the Palestinian authorities. No matter that they decided to boycott us, we came back and showed them again how different we are and how helpful we are in trying to help them, sampling, examining, setting up a laboratory, and working with extremely difficult patients there. And we continue to instruct them how to do what we do in our center, and we don't spare any effort in helping them. Now, we arrive to a certain situation now in Israel when there is, I would say, almost, I say, normal living. Not everything is open yet, but almost normal living. And on the side, we have the corona problem. So Hadassah, again, is one of the pioneers to show everyone that the hospital can be fully functioned, and on the side of it, we still, through a biological emergency room separate from the normal emergency room, we still are getting corona patients, put them in separate departments and treat them, and use the same staff that rotate through these special departments and to the normal work. So if you ask me about the future, this is actually the future here and now. It's mean, I assume that even for the near future, it's mean during the year up to the winter, we will be treating corona patient beside normal patient. Normal, it means sick patient, but without corona, or even combined. And we have a couple of patients that are combined, especially deliveries. Remember, you know, we got delivery ladies to our delivery center, and part of them are suffering from corona. We test them all on the entrance, and we do special measures with the positive ones. But anyway, we treat them, we deliver them, we send them back home to isolation, etc. So I do see a parallel functioning, parallel work. One hand is dealing with the specific corona patients. Remember, we have to save them. We cannot allow ourselves that Israel will become the US or France or even Italy. You know, we are treating and we are taking them back from the angel of death by two hands, pulling them back again to life. Okay, weaning them off the respirators, treating them and send them for rehabilitation. A specific corona epidemic rehabilitation center that we set up in the hospital just for these people who need rehabilitation. Again, first in the country. And believe me that somehow, okay, with a lot of help from you guys, from Hadassah International, from HWZOA, we feel, okay, very secure to continue this double mission and work, you know, days and nights and really be important, okay, to our nation and recognized as a leading hospital in the country. Yes, many hospitals claim for the fame, but we really do it. We really show everyone how extremely, okay, we are fighting with the angel of death, how we can win patients from very severe situations, how we are using modern sophisticated medications and methods, okay, showing the right way, collaborating with the world of research internationally, and, you know, experiment new type of medication, new methods, just developed, I would say, very lately for the corona patients. And we are among the international leaders of this sophisticated and modern treatment. And beside that, we continue all our duties, okay, to the other people.
Yeah, Zeev, that you mentioned, working day and night, and as you know, we at Hadassah International and HWCOA, and many of the people who are our leaders and volunteers all over the world are working and have been working day and night to make sure you get all the resources that the hospital needs to cope with the COVID-19 pandemic and with the parallel situation of the ongoing patients that come to the hospital. So one of the things that concerns many of us is all the conversations about the second wave of COVID-19 in the winter and the danger and challenge that represents because of the ongoing number of sick patients from influenza and other winter-related diseases that come regularly to our hospital every winter. So what can you tell us about that?
First of all, remember, I have statistics from 2017 that every winter we have the flu, the influenza, you know, epidemic locally in Israel, which hit a lot of elderly people and some immune compromised patients. And we have a high mortality seasons during the autumn and winter. You know, somehow this year it was replaced by the coronavirus epidemic. And we didn't see so many regular flu this year. But we estimate that in the winter we might get either a wave of corona patients, what you call the second wave, or maybe it will be a flu, or maybe some mutated influenza virus flu epidemic. Anyway, the next winter is going to be easier for us than the last one. And the reason is that we are right now trained, okay? We learned the lesson how to work. We made all the possible mistakes, not to repeat them this time as well. And the only problem that I really see is the delay in renewing and renovating the old building. The old building was really a treasure for us. It's actually saved us. Otherwise, we would have, you know, had to put all the patients in the Sarah Davidson Tower or in the Mount Scopus campus of us, and that would have been a disaster. But on the other hand, this corona epidemic caused us to delay significantly the renovation of the round building. Unfortunately, I say, because would we be in a different situation when the round building would have been towards its, finishing the enlargement of the department and setting up the skeleton and the envelope wall around it, we would use it, okay, with single investment. Now we found ourselves investing in the old building, okay, which all this, investment will go, will not serve us in the future. Instead of really use the money for two purposes. One is to treat the corona patient. The second one to prepare already the new tower. So it's, sometimes you cannot choose. It comes on you. And that's happened to us. But we are trying right now to set up and to reinforce the building and to add the 2 floors and to be more prepared. So maybe during the winter, we'll have some more space for the double mission of this building. It was so important, and I'm so sorry that we delayed its renovation and the coronavirus caught us in the middle. But anyway, we will overcome. That's what's happening with us, with the Israelis. We will find the way to overcome these difficulties, and with the help of everybody, including, I have to mention, the government of Israel, which is helping us in this time. We will be able, firstly, to continue our activities. Secondly, to continue our development to the level that will be much more prepared for the second wave that might come in any form that it will come, either as a corona or just a flu or some either mutated, influenza virus. But we are ready. We have enough equipment, and we are equipping ourselves also with future equipment. We didn't stop renovating our equipment lately because of this corona event. The hospital is very well managed by all my colleagues, and what is to describe to you is the spirit of the team, which is quite high, and we are getting a feedback, a very positive feedback from everybody, not only from our staff, but also from the regular patients and from the corona patients, as we have really, really very unique spirit in the hospital, the Hadassah spirit that by itself is cure many patients. And with the technology and with our best physician, we are really winners in this time.
I think you spoke about the spirit, and I think that's one of the things that are so important in extraordinary times like the ones we are experiencing all over the world. And I think that spirit is part of what leads us. I think I was thinking something that people might not know about your biography, but as we have spent a lot of time together traveling to different parts of the world in the last few years, I know a lot about that. And one of the things that you studied at some point in northern Italy, in university, and I'm thinking about Zeev Rotstein, the commander-in-chief of the operation of Hadassah Medical Hospital in the middle of this pandemic, looking at what happens in Italy in the beginning of March, middle of March, and you see that's happening there, and then you think, I know that place, I know those people, and you see what's happening, you think, okay, and now this is probably coming to us here. So how was that feeling for you in terms of, in the context of experiencing these extraordinary times and being in charge of such a responsibility and such an important place and function?
You did very well research, Jorge. At certain time, I was the consultant from the Lombardian, healthcare system in the region of Lombardia for emergency medicine. Can you imagine? I was there actually telling them that a disaster will come. It might be, some, I would say, earthquake that without preparedness, they will not overcome it. And I pointed out points that needed to be done. But the Italian as Italian, they love, you know, the life, and they are not really breaking their heads as we do, the Israelis, to prepare for disaster. Remember, in this sense, the fact that the world see that the number of casualties, the number of deaths in Israel is the 10th for population, as in the very modern other countries, even New York, even France, even Spain, Italy, and even Belgium. And there is a reason for it. So the first one is, of course, we are a relatively young country, and the other countries have more than 20% aged people over 65. But this not actually explain everything. The second prepared, maybe the wars that we passed, because of the need that we have to show everybody. And so we have a wonderful team that know how to deal, okay, with mass casualty. And this knowledge of how to deal with mass casualties is concentrated in Hadassah. Many of us serve in the army, took part in different wars, etc. Did some consultation for other countries as well as I did. So we knew how to prepare ourselves and how to build the team, the right team, and the efficient team, not only basing ourselves on anesthesists as in Europe, but really we built many teams of internal medicine teams with the intensivist and with the, I would say, anesthesiology department. This mixed team and the ability of us to recruit intensive care nurses that are very knowledgeable and experienced gave us the advantage to reduce mortality to the 10th of the other modern countries. And I'm very proud of it. I don't think that our Ministry of Health did something in order to reduce, give credit for our teams all over the country. It's not just Hadassah. Hadassah is a leader, but even in the other hospital, even in the small hospital, the lesson was actually taught, and people accumulated experience, and they used their experience to save people. So, yes. And we have them, and that's important too.
Yes, I think, another thing that people might not know, and I want to use this opportunity to ask you the question, is that besides, being a leader that implement the vision, you have vision, a very detailed vision of the future of health and public health. Some of the people here, including myself, we have listened to you presenting your vision. This is besides, your role at Hadassah, your vision for health. And many of the things we're connecting to about the future of health, about digital activities and having the patient, not having to come to hospitals, which, at that point, it was like a natural process of the development of technologies. And now with the issue of pandemics, maybe of viruses, being stronger and being more present in our lives, might become more and more relevant. So I want you to jump for a second to the future after COVID-19, the moment that when the virus will be in the past, and people will think with the short memories we have that they never happened, but it did happen and it's actually happening. So how do you see our reality being transformed by this experience we are having now in terms of the way healthcare will be done in the future?
Jorge, do you remember that more than 3 years ago, I declared Hadassah as a digital hospital? Do you remember? Remember my lecture about the importance of digital hospital?
It's My Hadassah, yes.
My Hadassah is only one project about the digitalness and digital, I would say, equipment and digital memory and storage, etc. This idea to turn the hospital into a filmless, a paperless, a fully digital hospital was one of our success factors in fighting the corona. For example, all the outpatient clinics, when people disappeared from the clinic because they didn't want to come to a hospital where there is a corona epidemic. We replace it completely by a video, I would say, consultation, like we do right now with the Zoom. We are doing it daily with our patient and with sophisticated, end user elements that help us to check the patient even from a distance. More than that, we are able, to receive digital information about the patient. Our laboratory for corona was computerized from the beginning, so it was possible for us to get an answer, positive answer, within an hour or an hour and a half from the time of examination. That really saved us from kind of building a cluster within Hadassah. When you know after 1 hour who is infected and who can be the spreader, or the super spreader, and you stop it and you move it, everything is to do with a lot of digital and using also artificial intelligence in it. So really, we were blessed with this decision that we did more than 3 years ago, going into digital. And this, I would say, epidemic showed us that we have to futurize our way of working differently than we did it in the past. We should reach out, but reaching out digitally. We should work from home sometimes to do consultation, even inside the hospital. So for example, radiologists, they don't have to come to the hospital, to make the diagnosis with MRIs, CTs. They can be wherever they are because we are strongly connected digitally, and they can actually give us all the diagnostics, even from remotely, from a distance, and so on and forth. The preparedness, to become a hospital was another important factor for us, and we are not dreaming, but we are believing that this, ability of remotely working and digital, that cover distances should be prevailing in the next future. So we can spare our physician, we don't risk them, we can work from a distance, we can give consultation to remote hospitals, we connected the two campuses together digitally, and so on and forth. Very important. And the fact that we started it 3 years ago is, kind of an important factor in us staying alive and, of course, winning over this epidemic with the minimum amount of casualties.
Thank you, Zeev. I want to ask you one last question, and I want to say to all the people who've been sending questions on our chat, we'll make sure that we will get these questions to Professor Rotstein, and we will get the answers in the next couple of days. For the sake of time, we were not able to present these questions live. And the last question is, there are many, and I see the names, moving from screen to screen on the Zoom. I see the names of many people that I personally know, and many people here know as long time or new supporters of Hadassah. Is there anything you want to tell and to share as a last message to people who are friends, supporting, and feeling so close to Hadassah from wherever they live, wherever they are?
Listen, I'm in good mood, but it doesn't mean that I'm not concerned. The near future for us is enigma. Remember, we are not, fully activated the hospital yet. Still, we have a lot of expenses over the corona patients and the need, to have sophisticated tools and equipment. Then, understanding that the corona is not over and it might return back in the forthcoming winter, and parallel way of working is what expected from us. I do see the necessity in the round building completion. So, if you had in mind to help us in some way, please expedite it and try to help us to set up, the right facilities as fast as possible, because this actually will dictate our future. The ability of us to parallel working with the normal patient that were not so much treated until now, and they are starting to flooding us right now, and continue working with the corona patient and be prepared and isolate them completely from the other departments is dictating us to use this asset as the old building, okay, to renovate it and start using it. Remember, this was in the past our main facility in the hospital. It included 600 beds at the good time of the building. Now we like to return back and to earn some extra 200 beds there to help us with the situation right now. So, you know, I do speak right now to all our friends all over the world. If you had some ideas in helping us, try to help us in setting up this, you know, element, which is crucial for our life in Hadassah.
Thank you so much, Zeev. I'd like to turn over to Melissa Kaplan, Executive Director of Hadassah International, to make the official thank you and close the meeting. Melissa, please.
Wonderful, thank you. And Zeev, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. We know that you are in a war right now, and you have been our fearless leader over there. So thank you. This was so informative. And Jorge, thank you for doing such a wonderful job in leading the interview. I'd like to ask Attila to actually turn on the cameras. I want to see your faces as we close and say goodbye.
People will need to turn on their cameras, and I can't turn on everybody's.
Okay, great.
Everybody's turning on very quickly.
People are coming on. Wonderful. Oh, that's so much better. I missed seeing your faces during the presentation.
And in a couple of minutes, we have the mics on. But
exactly. We'll do that in just a moment.
For a couple of minutes.
Yeah, so Zeev, that was the perfect segue into my closing. There are so many, I'm looking at your faces, and there are so many donors from the US, internationally. I have to say, in all of my time, my 13 years at Hadassah, I don't think I've ever felt the impact in the way that we have felt what every dollar, what every pound, what every euro, whatever, every peso, every shekel, how that is impacting, saving lives in such a critical time. And hearing you, I see Mickey Schulman is on the call, the chair of the Round Building campaign. We have so many donors on this call internationally and from the US who have given to that building. And now that we're repurposing and we're hearing that this war with COVID is not over, and how important it is that we are all doing what we can to support the hospital, to support Jerusalem. We know that Jerusalem is in for the battle of our lives. And we just are so grateful on behalf of Hadassah International, on behalf of HWZOA in the US. We are so grateful for all of your support. I wanted to just let you know that up to this moment, we have raised, Hadassah International and Hadassah office in Israel has raised over 8.35 million for the campaign. I know that HMO has raised, I believe, something like 3.5 million. And we are still raising funds to support this emergency campaign, research and equipment, and the building. We have launched under Dalia leadership, and I want to thank Dalia and our Hadassah International Israel board for all they have done. We have launched a campaign, online crowdfunding campaign within Israel. Attila, if you could just pull that up so people can see if they would like to donate through that to that campaign. We have other campaigns we've launched around the world to support this emergency campaign. And we are excited to see what comes in the next few weeks as well. We'll have other webinars coming out. We are planning on having a webinar for our Russian-speaking colleagues. We have circulated our protocol manual, as Jorge mentioned earlier in the call, around the world. Governments, health ministers are interested. Our Mexico team has just sent the protocol manual to the President of Mexico. They are doing an extraordinary job in helping to save lives in Mexico by using our know-how from HMO in Israel. So with that, I'd like to thank our president in Hong Kong, Rob Dorfman, Joyce Rabin, our liaison to Hadassah International, all of our presidents from around the world on the call. I'd like to thank our Hadassah International board for being on the call. I see many of your faces. And for all of our supporters and our constituencies and our new friends who have joined this webinar to hear about what we've been doing in Israel and around the world. So stay tuned, you'll be hearing from us. And if we could turn on the mics now. We will be at a Zoom right on time. Wonderful to see you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Gracias.